Hey everyone, it's Jen. Welcome back. So today for you, I'm going to be starting a short series in October where I'm going to share some videos that give you book recommendations based upon different paranormal creatures. So this one is going to be all about vampires. I love, love, love books about vampires. It's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine. And some of these are going to be dark. Actually, probably most of them will be kind of dark horror, gothic horror, but I do have two that are a little bit lighter. So we're going to start with those. So the first one I read back in 2020. So I went and kind of reviewed some of my notes from Goodreads to kind of jog my memory. But this one is Reborn Yesterday by Tessa Bailey. I gave this 5 stars. It was definitely a guilty pleasure romance. It was so good. We're following Ginny. She's a funeral director. And one day her life is changed forever when one of her dead bodies on her embalming table wakes up. He's got gorgeous green eyes and he is a vampire and she is very attracted to him. And so because the human world does not know that vampires exist, he has to erase her memory. But before he does, she reveals a secret that he cannot ignore. So we have a forbidden romance in this one. We go back and forth in time, and I'll leave it at that, but it was steamy. It was good. I really enjoyed it at the time when I read it. Gave it 5 stars. I did read the second one in this little series. I didn't love it as much, so I kind of stopped there. I think you can maybe leave that one, but the first one was really good. Reborn Yesterday by Tessa Bailey. I don't own it, but I would like to have it on my shelves one day. Okay, the next one I want to talk about is the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. This was so entertaining. I read this a couple years ago. It was my second Grady Hendrix. Grady Hendrix his writing is unique. His storytelling is great, but you never know what you're going to get with him. This was tagged as Fried Green Tomatoes and Steel Magnolias Meet Dracula, and so that's what piqued my interest in this one. Along with this amazing cover. I love this cover. Some of these books I read years ago, so I did take notes before I started filming. This one takes place in the 90s in southern Georgia, and you have a woman's book club, and you also have a handsome stranger that joins this book club. You have children go missing. You have community drama. I loved the social commentary on being a housewife in this one as well. You get basically gothic satire with this one. You will laugh out loud, but there are little parts here and there of some body horror, which was really gross. I kind of breezed through that. Body horror is not my thing, but it's not in here the whole entire book. There's only little parts, so you can kind of breeze past those if that is something you're not into. But overall, you have Southern hospitality, you have vampires, you have a book club, you have the 90s, which I love the 90s, and the storytelling was just great. There's a lot of twists and turns in here, and overall, it was such a unique, enjoyable experience. Definitely check it out. Okay, the next one is The Madness by Kirtagich. I think I'm saying that right. This is one that I have not read yet, but I am super intrigued. It's a kind of a retelling of Dracula from my understanding. You're going to get a very chilling and gripping story in this one. You're going to get paranormal mixed with a psychological horror / thriller mystery. So you have some powerful heroines in this one, is from what I gather. You're following Mina. She is a psychologist or psychiatrist, I can't remember, and she leaves town to try to run away from her past, her haunting nightmares that she has, and so you fast forward, she's in London living there with a very successful psychiatric practice, but she gets an email from someone back home, an old childhood friend that is asking for help. She's ill and she has very mysterious symptoms that are mirroring a current patient of hers, a current client of hers. And so she goes back trying to unravel what's going on. You get missing girls in this one, a web of secrets. You have very smart and savvy women that kind of work together to try to unravel this mystery of this powerful, unknown, unnamed force that's been haunting Mina her whole life. And you take it from there. So I've heard this is gripping, there's twists and turns, and it's vampires. Do I need to say anything else? So that's The Madness. That one sounds really good. Okay, the next one I have, which I'm hoping to get to this October, is The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. I heard that if you liked Akatar by Sarah J. Maas, this is a good one for you. Also, Jennifer Armentrout, oh gosh, From Blood and Ash, I believe, is the series. I've not read that one, but that was also a recommendation. If you like that, you'll like this. This actually is a duology. The second one is out. I only own this first one. I told myself I will not buy the second one unless I'm obsessed with this and need to know what happens. I think a third book by this author has also come out. It, I believe, takes place in the same world, but it's a beginning of a different duology. But this one, you're getting romantasy. You are following an adopted human daughter of a vampire king. And to save herself, she has to enter into this competition that has like vampires from 3 other deadly vampire like families that are in this competition, and it is ran by the goddess of death herself, I believe. So you have dark magic, bloodthirsty intrigue, and heart-wrenching romance. So that's all I want to know. I have really high hopes for this one, so I hope that going into it doesn't ruin my reading experience, but I've heard great things about that one. Okay, last but not least, I plan on reading this October, is Empire of the Damned by Kristoff. I won't talk about this one because this is book 2 and I have not read it yet, but I have high hopes for this one. But the first one in this series is Empire of the Vampire. I actually don't own that one, but I did recently purchase it from Pango, so it's on its way. I found an amazing, this is heavy, I'm gonna put it down. I found an amazing recap. I will put that in the description below. It's from the channel, the girl's channel name is Welcome to My Escape. I will link it down below. It was such a great recap. Now don't watch it if you haven't read the first one because it is obviously full with spoilers. But it was really helpful for me because, like I said, 3 years ago I read this. So you have a very complex world building detailed story, which I was a little bit intimidated by going into it, but I'm so glad I did because it was not intimidating. Kristoff did a great job walking you through it, but definitely needed a recap before I go into this one. I have some notes just to make sure I don't spoil anything. Okay, so in this one, you get terrifying, visceral vampire horror. It's a very complex and in-depth story, which I was hooked and could not put down. Even though it was complex, Kristoff did a great job like walking the reader through that. So I was intimidated by it going into it, but it was fine. You're going to get magic, obviously, paranormal, vampires. There's overtones of politics and religious themes. Let's see, it picks up where it's been 27 years since the last sunrise, and you have 3 decades of vampires and waged wars that are raging wars against humans, building this vampire empire. It's more like a fantasy saga. It's very involved, but you have Silver Saints, and they are part of the Silver Order. Silver Saints are half human, half vampires, and the Silver Order is a group of these Silver Saints that are trying to wage war against the vampires to help save humankind. That is the overall basic premise. You have legendary battles in this one. You have forbidden love, faith, friendship, found family, and they go on this quest to save humanity, and they need to find this holy grail. That's as simple as I can make it. Like I said, if you've read it, that's a great recap. If you haven't read it, I hope that interests you. Like I said, I'm not trying to scare anyone off from picking it up because of how involved it is in this fantasy saga, but it's so good. I Loved it. I've been patiently waiting for so many years for this second one to come out, so that's why I'm anxious to get to that this October. Yeah, there you have it. There's 5 recs. I hope some of these sound good. Have you read any of these? This will be, like I said, round 1 of some recommendations for October. The next one I'm going to put out that you guys can look out for is going to be about witches. And I love witches just as much as I love vampires. So look out for that. But happy reading. Thanks for taking time to watch my video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.